should be going. Although D-Live is not up. Let's see. Okay, I'll just delete this one.
Okay.
Delete the former one. And I'll do the same on YouTube. I think, are we on?
Yep.
Okay. So we have some people that are either, you know, on purpose trying to mess with us, but either way, we're just not going to deal with it. So this is how this is going to go from now on. If we know you, you know, our regular people we chat with, Aola, Snork, James, Ebon, anybody that we know, Shirley, all of you guys, just please tweet at us. If we follow each other, you can send a direct message to me or to Brian, and we'll send you the Zoom link. But we're no longer going to be able to put it public for obvious reasons. So we're just, it's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. So, and if you know, we don't know you and you'd like to join in, just do the same. Just tweet. You can't do, I guess, direct message, but just tweet at us, and then we'll, you know, figure out who you are first, and then we'll, because I don't know. I mean, who? So either it's one of two things, you know. It's either, you know, direct attempts to shut us up, or it's people with nothing better to do. It's funny. I was just about to tweet back to Peter Douche about just how awesome it's been. We were just chatting back and forth, and he said thank you, something about us doing the real work, and I was just thinking how great it's been. One of the best things about what we've been doing has been talking to these candidates that really care. And like, you know, our recent one with Brian Witt, Tim Canova, of course, Bob Shanlin, all these people I've talked to that really genuinely want to change things and, you know, for the better. And that's just, it gives me hope amongst a bunch of crap that goes on, like these idiots that just showed up, and other bad things I've seen in the progressive movement. So it's nice to meet some good guys, put it that way. And as far as these fuckers go, bye-bye. So, okay. So we will try to keep an eye on, as if we get a lot of people on, it might take us a minute to see your request if you want to join.
I'll keep an eye on Twitter. So if anybody wants to get there, just
yep.
I am, and I'll send.
Okay. Well, that kind of confirms, though, for us, you know, when this happened with Bill Sombrello's first town hall, we weren't really sure if it was coming, you know, was it because of, did they get the Zoom link from his, or is it someone kind of tracking us? But then we learned that James's channel had the trolls also. So it seems to be, I don't know what that means. Could still be random, but whatever. Alrighty, so someone will message, I'm sure, if they're seeing it and not able to get on. Okay. So the old, let me delete this one. The old link is not working. Okay. And D-Live. Let me just try something with D-Live. So we were going to talk kind of about the ridiculousness of all this news coverage of the royal wedding, right? And some other big stories. Let's see. Yeah, apparently, what is it? BBC 3, whatever that is, one of their shows, was tweeting out an aerial view of Trump Trump's inauguration, the crowds, and like side by side with the royal wedding. First of all, since when? Well, never mind. We've known this has been going on. Our news, it might as well just be TMZ. I mean, what the hell is this? But so I just retweeted it and said, okay, first of all, like, this is asinine to be comparing these two. I don't even get it. Why is a news organization doing this? But secondly, that whole thing about the Trump inauguration and how there weren't that many people there was just idiocy to me. Like, let's think about this a little bit. Okay, Trump supporters, people that voted for Trump, we know come from, I mean, this is a very big country, come from all over, it's all over the country, a lot of them in the heartland. And okay, we don't have high-speed rail. And we have half the country in poverty. So having the coastal elite news agencies go, oh look, aren't as many people here. Well, okay, they probably couldn't afford to travel. Like, who living in Oklahoma is gonna take a Greyhound bus so they can go be in a crowd in DC and stay where? Like, to me, it was just so obvious and so stupid that they made that argument. Like, so I don't know. So, and now they're taking it further to compare that to the royal wedding. Whatever. That's what people
Which takes place in another country and has nothing to do with an elected office. So.
Right. I don't know.
Yeah, that makes a lot.
Yeah. But it says, BBC 3. Just saying. Okay, that's another thing that just burns my butt. Like, when you hear these news people talking like that. Just saying, and what was it? I remember hearing Don Lemon talk about Australia. I think it was when the plane, that they never found went missing. And he's like, says something about Australia is our BFF. What? What grade are you in? You're supposed to be a newscaster.
But don't you understand that today's journalism?
Yes, it is.
That is today's. That's a perfect synopsis of today's journalism.
Yes, it is. Quite frightening, isn't it?
Absolutely
crazy.
insane.
Okay, I'm actually. Do you feel like talking to yourself for a minute? I'm just gonna see if I can put up. So DLive had some updates, I think. I just want to see. Well, I hope those fuckers, pardon my language, are having fun. Like, now they can't get in. They'll find something else to do. I'm sure James is probably going to have to do the same thing where you close it out. It's going to have to be by invite only. But anyway, that's okay. It's not a big deal. I mean, anybody can ask. We just want you to identify yourself, to a point.
Right.
Like, at least we can check out someone, if they have looks like a fake Twitter thing or something, then we're probably not going to have you in. But, okay, let me just try this. Stream key and see if that works. That's odd.
What is this? I'm looking at Twitter and looking at Jeremy Corbyn's tweet. Somebody tweeted at him, this guy Rory Bremner, and said, Jeremy Corbyn must be feeling like Richard Dawkins on Christmas Day right now. Oh, I get it. Oh, that's funny. He's talking about the royal wedding. That's funny.
I wonder. I think
that's funny.
Something I retweeted was deleted.
Oh, really?
Oh my god. Okay, that is not the picture that I'm deleting that too. There's a tweet of mine that was supposed to be a different picture of the royal wedding. No.
That's interesting.
You know how sometimes if you click on something and then you tweet it, it just on the feed it just shows a different picture, whatever was at the top. So I just deleted it because That is not what I meant by that. Okay, yeah, someone else did tweet something, in criticism of CNN. It said, apparently, and I retweeted it, apparently Meghan Markle's dad, Melania Trump's successful surgery, and Harry Reid are more important than the murder of 52 unarmed Palestinians, according to CNN. Thank God for our unbiased news journalism. Messed up.
Yeah, it's disgraceful. It's really disgraceful.
Yep. All right. Well, I don't know how this is going to go, Brian. We might just be talking to ourselves. We could... I think I'll type...
Well, I see 4 people watching on YouTube.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is just...
People watching.
I'll retweet it and say, due to trolls... we can no longer post. Okay. Oh, okay, one message. Yep. So sorry for the dead air, everyone. Right now, we're just trying to let everyone know what's going on.
Yep. Workers.
Okay. So yeah, I think Jeremy Corbyn's tweet may have been... Oh wait, no, here it is. Okay. Jeremy Corbyn said, may I express my delight that Harry and Meghan have had such a wonderful start to their marriage. Today's display of support from family and friends will stand them in good stead after I've abolished the monarchy and stripped them of their incomes and titles.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought so.
I like that a lot.
He must have really gotten some shit for that one.
Looks like we'll have Snork here in a minute. I'm just waiting for him to message me.
All right, and I will... Let me retweet this. And I actually... Okay. I guess I'll have to find something else to do. Okay, so... Okay, here we go. Hang on, I'll be right back.
Okay. else is going on? Well, one of the other things we're going to talk about tonight is, well, we do want to go over what's been going on with the reality winner case, because it's so damn unusual to have somebody basically killed without any real precedent. Did you have a chance? You didn't really take a look at the reality winner case today, did
Well,
you?
I have, but not. I really was going to dig in and read more and didn't get a chance to. Oh, there's Shirley. Okay. Oh, Shirley might need the number.
I sent it.
Oh,
I sent
okay.
it in the group chat between you, me, Snork, and Shirley, so she's looking there too.
Okay, but does she need the actual phone number, not just the link part?
Oh, she may need. Okay, that's true. She may need the phone number part.
Yeah. How's it going, Snork? Did I sent that to you, didn't I? Yeah. Okay. No, as it usually goes, I get started on one thing and reading another thing.
Yeah.
So I was actually paying attention. I often follow, or usually follow, Craig Murray's blog, and he has been talking about the Philip Cross affair. Has anyone heard about that? No? Okay, so I'll just try to summarize it a little bit here. I know Susie Dawson covered it, I think, or was tweeting about it. But so basically, this says 133,612 edits to Wikipedia have been made in the name of Philip Cross over 14 years. Well, that's a long time, but that's over 30 edits per day, 7 days a week. Yeah. So the operation, he's got a graph and everything. I should put up, I tweeted it earlier, but so he's got this graph here where he's like mapped out like when these things are happening and when the edits are happening. The operation runs like clockwork, 7 days a week, every waking hour without significant variation. If Philip Cross genuinely is an individual, there is no denying he is morbidly obsessed. Okay, let me scan here. And so, okay, there are three options here. Philip Cross is either a very strange person indeed, or a false persona disguising a paid operation to control Wikipedia content, or is a real front person for such an operation in his name. Let's see. So the purpose. Okay. He was basically saying, why does this matter? Because the purpose of the Philip Cross operation is to systematically attack and undermine the reputations of those who are prominent in challenging the dominant corporate and state media narrative, particularly in foreign affairs. Philip Cross also systematically seeks to burnish the reputations of mainstream media journalists and other figures who are particularly prominent in pushing neocon propaganda and in promoting the interests of Israel. So it goes on, basically, this matters because an ordinary reader who comes across an article questioning, say, the official narrative on the Scribbles is very likely to turn to Wikipedia. I don't know, I don't really trust Wikipedia, but I guess for basic stuff you might, or someone might, to get information on the author of the article. Simply put, the purpose of the Philip Cross operation is to make certain that if the reader looks up an anti-war person, such as John Pilger, love John Pilger, they will conclude they are thoroughly unreliable and untrustworthy, whereas if they look up a right-wing mainstream media journalist, they will conclude they are a paragon of virtue and to be trusted. So, let's see. The Philip Cross treatment is meted out not just to left-wingers, but to all skeptical of neoconservatism and who oppose wars of intervention. So here's some of the names, which I instantly followed, all of them that I wasn't already following. List of Cross's victims include Alex Salmond, Peter Oborn, John Pilger, Owen Jones, Jeremy Corbyn, Tim Hayward, Diane Abbott, Neil Clark, Lindsey German, Vanessa Beeley, and George Galloway. Let's see. And then there's some tie here with, what's his name? Oliver Cam, I think is his name. So Craig Murray says, there's no doubt that Cam, writer of the Murdoch's Times, is close to the Philip Cross operation. Many people believe that Cam and Cross are the same person, or that Cam is part of a multiple persona. 6 times that he has had, Craig Murray, hostile edits to his Wikipedia page, made in precise conjunction with attacks on me by Cam, either on Twitter, in a Times editorial, or in Prospect magazine. So that's interesting. So altogether, Philip Cross has made 275 edits to Craig Murray's Wikipedia page. These include calling my wife a stripper, deleting my photo, removing my reply to attacks made on me by Cam and Harding. Remember who Harding is? Harding's the guy that wrote the book Collusion.
Right.
I love the way Aaron Mate, just that interview Aaron Mate did with him was great. Just made him look like an idiot, I think. But oops, lost my place there. Where was I? Harding. Okay. Yeah, it's just great. It's more of this, control the message and silence dissent. But I gotta hand it to him for looking all this up and making these charts and showing what was actually happening. Okay, here's somebody. He says, what is particularly interesting, and I'm just reading off of Craig Murray's blog. I don't know this information other than what I'm reading right now. It's interesting that Philip Cross's views happen to be precisely the same political views as those of Jimmy Wales, who is the founder of Wikipedia. Jimmy Wales has been on Twitter the last 3 days, being actively rude and unpleasant to anybody questioning the activities of Philip Cross. Jimmy Wales has actively spoken against Jeremy Corbyn, supports the bombing of Syria, supports Israel, is so much of a Blairite he married Blair's secretary, and sits on the board of Guardian Media Group alongside Catherine Viner. And yeah, that's a big thing right now with the Guardian. I feel like it's like one article is decent out of a whole slew of ones that seem just very biased, especially anything regarding Assange. But so this Jimmy Wales, founder of Wikipedia, he just is kind of berating Craig Murray back. Hang on a second. Sorry, right back.
No problem.
Did you get your new Ryzen built?
Did I get what?
Did you get your new Ryzen-based computer built?
No, I still have the one I'm currently using.
I'm still a ways away from being able to do that.
So I thought I'd be really try to be humorous here. Part of this, well, it's funny, but it's not. So you guys know my youngest sister, and I can't talk too much because I'll cry, but you know my youngest sister died in November. But she was a real goofball, like total clown comedian all the time. Like, I'm not joking when I say I had been at a funeral with her, she would have been cracking jokes. Like, that's just how she was. So when we were trying to get stuff together for her service, people were saying, you know, bring purple, bring lavender. And I had to come up with something that was just stupid, ridiculous, like funny in her honor. So I found these hats because we decided to go with like royal wedding kind of hats. So we wore these at her service.
Nice.
Aren't they great? I was like, you know, because I had in my mind that one crazy hat that one of the royal sisters wore that, I mean, it was all, I remember seeing this image everywhere, but it was like, it was this bizarre, like beige colored, I don't even know what it was, like this maze of, do you know what I'm talking about? Oh, I'll find it. I have to share it. It's so funny. Oh, what's her name? I think she's, is it Fergie? Like one of Fergie's kids?
Eugenie?
I don't remember.
I'm pronouncing that wrong. It's Eugenie.
Oh, maybe so. Maybe that's it.
The foggiest.
I know. Well, you know what's funny? Somebody, now I can't remember who it was, on the Assange Twitter feed. I can't remember who it was. A Canadian was saying that I got in a conversation or tweets back and forth, and he was saying, you have no idea what it's like in Canada, how they are so into the royal wedding. I was like, oh yes I do. Because I remember my grandmother getting me up at 4 a.m. in 1980, I guess it was 81, so I would have been 10, but getting me up at 4 a.m. so that we could watch it on television.
At 4 a.m?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because that's how they really did. I mean, at least my grandmother did, but I mean, they were very still like loyal to, they had that connection. They felt, I mean, you know, the Queen is on the Canadian money and you know, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's not, I don't know if it's still that way, but my grandmother was certainly into it, you know, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's kooky.
Yeah, it kind of is. Let me see if this is the one.
I thought that in the 90s, the royalty was going to
Finally go away.
And it really snapped back.
Very odd. Very, very
I think
odd.
people just kind of want an escape. Okay, I found it, but it's really tiny and I can't seem to. Hang on.
Well, you know, you'd think they'd be able to find one that isn't so damn expensive.
Hello.
Hey, is that you, Aeolus?
Hey.
Yes, it was Eugenie.
Hey.
You're right. You're right, Snork.
It's not pronounced Eugenie, though.
It's not. Okay.
Yep. Since my computer's still shit when it comes to microphone activation, I'm just gonna have to use my phone until I can get my laptop repaired.
Oh, okay.
My personal laptop, not the one I was borrowing from the school.
That sucks.
Yeah, it's fucking. Thank you, by the way, for the likes on my little Twitter rant I went on earlier this evening.
Oh, what were you ranting? That must have been Brian, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. It's nothing on anything too serious. Just a little bit of pop culture drama that I felt that I had to bring the hammer of rationality down on.
That seems to be necessary a lot.
Was this about the royal wedding? Crap. Or...
Surprisingly, no.
No,
Oh,
it
okay.
wasn't.
Okay, this is the best one I can come up with, but
my opinion is that is good for them. I don't particularly
Good God.
just as long as they aren't shit to each other, you know, whatever.
Why would you decide to wear that in public?
I don't know. It's so bizarre, but that was what I had in mind when I was searching for hats to wear to my sister's thing. But anyway, this is what I came up with. And we left the tags on to get a little, mini pearl going on. If that doesn't date me, I don't know what does. But anyway, sorry. So what was it specifically?
It was about Han Solo.
Do what?
It was about Han Solo.
Well, more specifically, apparently, the writer at Disney decided to reveal that Lando was actually pansexual.
Okay.
Right.
Which, as I stated before in that, as I stated in that thread that I made, I really don't give a shit. Not in the sense that I don't. I think it's good that I think it's good for just for representation's sake that there's a character in the Star Wars universe that you could just like automatically identify. Oh, hey, maybe he's like me. And for people who are pansexual, I can imagine that this is a really big moment for them. I don't want to downplay what that means for them.
Right.
But which is why I kind of railed on a couple of people like on YouTube whose opinion I tend to share about the direction of the Star Wars franchise with, because I think that they're going at this in the entirely wrong direction. My broader point with this is that the problem with Star Wars is not, at the moment, it's not a case of an SJW menace or the Frankfurt School rising from the dead. The problem here is that Disney is utilizing, in the same way the Clintons used. It's the same issue that we had with the Clintons. And what they're doing is that they're weaponizing identity politics in a way that is not to uplift, but to deconstruct, but to destroy the entire basis of the conversation. Yeah. They're using this as a marketing ploy in order to just cheaply push forward a minimally viable product. And this is the essence of why I fucking despise Disney. I still am going to see Incredibles 2, but fuck, I am going to hate them. I hate Disney right now because of this shit. Because here's the thing. Corporations do not actually give a shit about social justice. They don't. In fact, they have a vested interest in making sure that those efforts don't have any traction. And the only reason Disney is going in this direction is because they think that they have a cheap way to make a fucking buck.
It's the same reason, like, when Hillary Clinton decides to come out for gay marriage. It's because it's politically expedient. If it's convenient and in some way is, going to improve their profits or whatever,
right.
It's funny.
Which is why you're willing to insert a black character as the main character in the Star Wars saga, but they aren't willing to give him any kind of meaningful effect on the story, which is why he is now relegated to bumbling janitor stereotype number 47. And the one possibly progressive thing that they could have done, which was the seemingly budding gay romance between him and Poe, gets sidelined for a meaningless and ultimately nonsensical romance between him and Rose, which, if anyone has seen The Last Jedi, you should know how well that went.
It's just dumb.
So I had this moment in the during the primary where, I mean, it sounds so stupid that I didn't pick up on it sooner, but I remember just going, like, all these years, it's been so obvious to me, living in the South. That's weird, there's an echo. Living in the South, seeing how Republicans have, had this lock on the evangelical Christians, people that were, against gay people, and that whole group. And I could see that so clearly, how they just were playing to that, right? Identity politics on that side. And I swear, though, it just, and being a progressive living in the South, drove me crazy, because I'm like, oh my God, why are you voting against your own interests, right? But it wasn't until like midway through I guess like maybe, I don't know, February or so, the primary, and I went, oh my God, they're just doing the exact same thing on the other side. And I don't know why I didn't see it before, but I guess you just don't see it till you see it. I was like, they're totally using, gay rights and all that stuff in the same way. They want people to just decide that they're on this team and say, okay, this political party is for my beliefs, and I don't have to ever look any closer at what they actually do, and that's just where I belong. That's my team. And it was just, I don't know. It was just like, wow, I can't believe it took me that long. What's so funny?
I totally agree with that, and it's one of the reasons.
Are you laughing? Okay.
No,
no. Brian's laughing at something.
Someone just posted. It was Zox who said that Ebon is on right now, and he's gone batty.
Uh-oh. What is Ebon doing?
He's chasing bats in a bee suit.
Well, come on. This isn't Nicolas Cage. This isn't a Nicolas Cage film, Yvonne.
Okay.
By bee suit, we don't mean that he's got little things going.
Oh my God, I see it. That's really funny.
And is he using a katana?
It'd be great if he was running around his basement with a katana dressed like a bee, yelling.
That would be just too damn funny.
Hey, we do have kind of a weird echo. Hi, Lucas.
Hello.
I'm not sure what's happening here.
The echo is coming from Aeolus's phone.
Is it?
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have it on speaker mode?
Yeah, hold on. Maybe I might be able to use my headphones. Let me see. Oh, no. Yeah, hold on. Let me see if that works.
Okay.
If it... Still. Yeah, I think it might.
Yeah, that's better.
It just might.
Thanks, Alice.
Okay.
Yeah, that's better.
Yeah. Okay, so it does have battery still. Woohoo!
So guess whose campaign I just got invited to work on last week?
Oh, who's that, Lucas?
Constance Newton, the Ohio Green Party candidate for governor.
Oh, that's awesome. Well done.
Yeah, I got to go meet her, and I got to meet Dennis Kucinich not last Saturday, but Saturday before that, and speak with him.
That's awesome.
And then on the primary day, I decided that the results of the primary would determine who I campaigned for. And since Kucinich lost, I decided I'm gonna put all my efforts into getting Constance Newton votes. So now I'm a part of the official campaign, the inner circle.
Damn straight. That's awesome, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's pretty nice because I'm the youngest person there, but yet everyone just lets me talk and listens, and it's really a change of pace. My hometown, where everyone is super negative if you're a young person. Basically, if you're at the age of 40, you don't know anything about how the world works, so shut the F up. And whenever I'm talking with them, they're like, "Oh my goodness, how does this 19-year-old know so much?"
That's awesome, man.
And I'm like, you could know all this stuff if you come on to Speakeasy and After Hours.
Oh,
right?
Thank you.
Thanks, Lucas.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we're trying. Did you hear any of what we were talking about earlier? Or mainly was me reading from Craig Murray's blog, but about this Philip Cross thing, where they're kind of sounds like they're really controlling the message, controlling everything on Wikipedia, and specifically going after any journalists that are, going against the mainstream corporate media. This is really interesting.
That's been a thing for a while. The first documented case of that, I think, of people who are going in doing controlled edits on a daily basis like that, where white supremacists going in and erasing Black history and Black achievements, and then the government realized that you could do that. So then the CIA started having bots do all that kind of stuff, and Israel's now and Turkey are now having bots do all that kind of stuff. Saudi Arabia having bots do all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's been going on a while, but Craig Murray's just been talking about it recently because he kind of got into Twitter discussions with Jimmy Wales, who's the founder of Wikipedia, about this, and they're just pushing back on it. And he says, I don't know, you have to look at it. Follow Craig Murray's blog. It's really good. I don't want to sit here and just read the whole thing, but he really hits back on him at every sort of denial about what they're doing. And he has quite a number of screenshots here on his blog, and including a screenshot of John Pilger's the revision history on Wikipedia of what they did to him, and with another one, Alex Salmond, Luke Harding revision history. Of course, those are like positive that they change it. But anyway, it's just interesting to see what they're doing. I mean, we know they've been doing it, but to actually see it and the evidence and see who's behind it is interesting. So.
Well, interesting. A less malevolent case of this was whenever the Australian government had Wikipedia edited to make it look like they won the Emu War, and that the emus because in real life the emus won the war. They had like all these machine guns and everything, and the emus still won anyway. And so if people would go on and they'd make the Emu War page on Wikipedia like an actual war page, and have it so well, here's the aggressor, here's the aggressee, and all that kind of stuff, and who attacked who, and then who won. And the Australian government had Wikipedia go in and edit it to say that the Australian government won and not the emus.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing now. We can't always tell what's real at first online, but there's so much stuff that they the powers that be just can't hide anymore, or atrocities of war. I don't know if anyone else saw this, but it was just horrible. The baby, I think she was maybe 10 months old or something, that died, from the tear gas in somewhere, I guess, Gaza Strip. But when you start seeing those images, and I think we as Americans are, a lot of us are very uninformed about what actually happens, and it's just war is not pretty, and we just kind of don't pay attention. And now to have these images right in people's faces, I mean, even sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to add, though, that if there's anything that I learned from watching how my mentor teacher has been sort of observing the situation in Gaza, is that it's almost impossible now to filter out the information. There is still plenty of room for willful ignorance and willful disengagement of empathy.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's true. I had a conversation with my Russian friend last weekend about why Chelsea Manning went to prison, the Apache collateral murder, that. And I told her, I said, look, I am embarrassed to say this, but due to my own illness and stuff at the time, I wasn't paying very much attention, and they certainly didn't show that footage from collateral murder on American media. But I didn't even see that footage until the summer of 2016. And I asked her, I said, have you seen it? And she said no. And she said, exactly what I just said of war isn't pretty. And I'm like, no, you really need to see it. I mean, this is our soldiers, sounding like they're playing Call of Duty, shooting up Reuters journalists in a van with kids in it.
And then paramedics afterwards.
Do what?
And then paramedics afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, so you can't just, you just stay in the dark, you don't know the truth. And so we got in this conversation, kind of along with that, of Assange and WikiLeaks, and, just what's okay to leak. And she was kind of the opinion, if you're working for the government and you take this oath that you're supposed to not, share this information, then you should go to jail. Now, if you take that that sentiment and you apply it to, yeah, I know. Yeah, sure. If our government wasn't doing corrupt things and we were really at war, and I think people still have this idea that America is doing the great, we're the good guys. And so, yeah, we need to keep some secrets because we don't want the bad guys to like know what we're doing. When it's all, none of that is even true. So
as a former service member, there is such a thing as being tried for following unlawful orders.
Ah, right.
So if you follow an order, you're quote unquote following orders. If those orders are unlawful and you know they're unlawful, you are not obliged to follow them. In fact, you can be tried for following.
Mm-hmm. But what really actually happens in those situations a lot of times, I would wonder if the person...
I'll be honest with you, a lot of times I don't think they're brought to any kind of court of law. I think they're just kind of swept under the rug. At least that's my impression.
Yeah.
Well, I think in most cases it has to be a really difficult decision to make.
Mm-hmm. And what really happens in that, I could imagine, in the hierarchy of, power in the structure in the military, if you object, I mean, I can imagine how that goes. I should ask.
And just think, like they're not going to prosecute the people who carried out the unlawful order if they're not going to prosecute the people who gave that unlawful order.
Right, exactly.
Just like the My Lai, the My Lai massacre was, we massacred a village of people who actually sympathized with the United States based on faulty intelligence that the CIA received through torturing Viet Cong prisoners of war.
Right.
And then we went in there and slaughtered them all. And only 2 Americans out of that whole group decided, hey, this is effed up. We should stop this and we should try to save some of these people. And none of the people who did the murdering, but none of the guys who gave the orders, none of them ever saw justice for any of that. The guys who gave those orders are still free today. Like one of the guys, you can go down in Florida and just see him walking around in the street.
I remember when one of my uncles who was over there was still alive. He was a Chinook pilot. And they had a lot of nightmares, a lot of PTSD, because they would be requested to go out, take 3 Chinooks with nets, and basically they wanted answers out of somebody. They would take the helicopters up to height, drop one of the nets, and then start getting answers from the other people.
Jeez.
And events like that really bothered him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he just couldn't get it out. He basically became an alcoholic.
Wow.
It's crazy because, in school they teach you that the My Lai massacre was whenever we went and slaughtered a village of Vietnamese people, and because we thought they were villains. But what they don't tell you is the reality is that entire war was nothing but the My Lai massacre, basically. Like the whole thing was just us going and slaughtering men, women, and children throughout the entire country. And that was how we determined whether or not we were winning. It wasn't by land conquered, it wasn't by weapons taken, it was by people killed.
That's pretty much.
The only reason the My Lai massacre stands out is because the village was all people who sympathized with our cause.
That's pretty much how my uncle characterized it as well. The second tour in Vietnam, the one in near 1970 or near 1969, I think, he was there right when the moon landing started, the first one, and he described My Lai as a smaller one of the massacres, that shouldn't be when we're talking about America.
No, we should have Dominic on for this.
Yeah.
Because he would be
But like
great.
I said, the helicopters were just able to slaughter a lot of people. They could carry a tank, and a lot of people are the same weight as a tank.
Not to mention all the napalm.
Napalm too. He got shot down one night when they went to napalm a bunch of what they thought were Viet Cong, and they were American soldiers. And they were on a hill, so they had the idea that they would napalm all the valleys around the hill. start a fire, and then burned them all as they climbed up the mountain. And once they found out they were Americans, they couldn't get anybody to rescue him. So he took a Chinook in 13 times, got shot down the 13th time. It helps for people that are afraid of number 13. But like I said, they heard movement in the jungle outside at night and opened fire with machine guns and found a water buffalo hamburger outside. So they had a rough time. He was shot down a lot over there. Those helicopters were in the air for just weeks, and they would be shot down. Completely vulnerable.
Well, that's why they said 1 week of the Vietnam War cost more than the entire space shuttle program from start to finish.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
So if they didn't come back with leaves in their rotors, they got reprimanded for flying too high.
Now this is World War II. I know I've shown this at some point on here before, but so my Canadian grandfather was a pilot in the Royal Canadian Air Force Spitfire. He flew a Spitfire, which this is going to be really hard to see, but let me see if you can. I mean, this is, you know, I can't imagine. He was like, I think he was 19, maybe 20, and you know, I mean, I'm not proud to say it, but he shot down. He said it was 3 confirmed, but it was really 7 Nazi planes. But can you imagine being 20 years old flying this thing over? I mean, it boggles my mind that people, I mean, that's just what people did, and they thought they were doing the right thing. And now here's him much later.
Most of those pilots didn't survive their first flight.
Yeah, well, he did, but in the 90s, he received a letter from I guess it was a grandson of one of the people that somehow they tracked him down, that it was him that had shot down this guy's grandfather. And, you know, my grandmother wanted him to respond, but he was just not. He was a very quiet person, and he wasn't very, I don't know, I think he just never really wanted to talk about it, and I don't think he responded, you know. But the letter was like, you know, I forgive you. It was war, and it was, you know, people were following orders, and it was yeah, but he didn't answer. So, but just think of why do we do this? It just makes no sense. Anyway,
Well, the corporations have to make money, so
yeah,
And that was it.
that's basically it.
Vietnam used a lot of helicopters. 64, 65 ushered in the era of using helicopters for flight, and that was what Johnson's wife was into.
but can't they make money on, like, I don't know, rebuilding schools? I mean, there's got to be some way.
They could.
Of course, I always kind of worry about that too, because they'll find a way to do it that's just for profit, and I don't know.
When you try to raise taxes to build a school, people go in to vote, and they vote it off. They vote it out. They vote no. There's no chance for people to vote no when the Department of Defense asks for money.
Right.
If it was tied to the taxes and you had to have a vote every 2 years like you do with schools, I wonder how many people would be saying, "Oh, I don't want to raise my taxes by $50 this year."
Right.
Usually when I talk about school tax, it's $50 a year, maybe $20.
Now that's something we should really consider, is amendment tying military spending to a taxation vote. That would end this shit really quickly.
Well, and have a war tax. So if we're ever at war, that's an extra tax. You have to ration everything, like World War II. The reason the reason that the Americans got in and out so quickly out of World War II was because they wanted to get it done and over with, because everyone sacrificed something.
Right.
And the secret that they realized of like how to keep these wars going, and that they did with Korea and Vietnam, and then they perfected it with the Iraq wars, is that don't let the people who aren't fighting over there feel it at all. We're just going, instead of taxing them to pay for it, we're just going to run up the deficits and the debt and pay for it that way. and and so that's why we're $20 trillion in debt right now, and the Pentagon spent an additional $21 trillion between 1998 and 2015 in unaccounted for and unappropriated funds. Like in just between 1990 and 2015 alone, the Pentagon spent over $21 trillion in unappropriated money, and just $2 trillion of that in 2015 alone.
Better be careful.
Talking to old people about how they had to go along with it, and then finding out more information later. They were told that they were going to lose the war if you ate a stick of bubble gum or a stick of gum and didn't save the aluminum for the war effort. That they would go around to the houses and they would ask people, "Do you have a spare pan that you could go so we could melt it down to help save our people over there?" They were making them feel that they were doing their role. Even I think I've mentioned before about the carrots, but they were doing everything they could to make these people think that they had to give the last little effort. Kids would go out with wagons and collect dimes or pennies, and all kinds of scrap materials, so that people thought that they were in the war that was going on, and it was all just a psych trip. It was easier to actually mine and melt down the steel than it was to recycle the materials back then. But they didn't want to tell the public that, and they were doing the constant push for war bonds. Like we got to buy stuff, we have to go. They really didn't need to do that. We don't do that now, but maybe we should.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what. But if you watch any of the cartoons from the 40s, like all the cartoons, like start and end with "buy war bonds." Like even the kids' cartoons, like they all start with "buy war bonds," and they all end with "buy war bonds" and support the effort and support the troops, that kind of thing. Which I think is crazy that the phrase "support the troops" is always being used now to cover for being critical of sending all these young men off to die, And it's like, if you really wanted to support the troops, then you'd be telling everybody to buy war bonds, and that we should all be giving up things in our daily lives to help make this war over as fast as possible.
Right.
But carrots will always be my favorite conspiracy theory. Not really a theory anymore; it's been proven. So,
I was for the carrots thing. What is that?
During World War II, the Germans couldn't figure out how we were targeting their aircraft at night. So they were sending up night bombers, and we were able to, basically the British were able to spot where they were coming from in time to be able to get aircraft up in the air to shoot them down before they came. Since they had an idea of where they were coming from, what altitude they were at, what their direction was, they were able to get above them, come around and attack them at an angle where the Germans hardly had any chance. And they did not want the Germans to know that we had radar, because they thought that they would quickly develop their own. So they came up with the idea that let's start telling the farmers that we need more carrots so that our night pilots can see to keep continuing to shoot down the German pilots. And they were saying, anything you do, we need as many carrots as possible, because these guys are doing a good job. They could do better if they could double the amount of carrots they could eat. And there was to carry on this conspiracy, they even had Warner Brothers things with Bugs Bunny.
Oh my God!
Got to get your carrots for the war effort.
Yeah, that's what's really frightening when you start to see how much Hollywood plays a role in sort of propping this up,
Well, you should watch. What's Roger Stone's son's name? If you watch his show on RT, he just did a special, a 3-episode or two or 3 episode special on the Pentagon and CIA relationship with Hollywood ever since World War I and II.
Wait, Roger Stone's son has a show? I guess I haven't watched in a while, and I only watch specific things like Ed Schultz, I guess. But Roger Stone's son?
Sean Stone. Sean Stone did a special on the Pentagon and CIA's cozy relationship with Hollywood, and it is insane. You have no idea how much control the Pentagon and CIA have over the scripts in the studios, because if you think about all the different movies you've ever seen have any kind of, like naval ship or tank or Humvee or anything like that, the Pentagon and the CIA had complete control over every single word and decision in those scripts. Like when it came to that's the final movie.
Yeah.
So this isn't the right one. I've got to see if I can go find it. So I have all these magazines. November 1943 from my grandparents' basement. Nobody else wanted them, so I took them all. This one, Yachting, PTs in Action. But I mean, I don't know if you can see any of this. But this is really interesting. But I was trying to find this one that had an ad. It was kind of like what you were saying, like support. I don't know, just those sort of what they're telling people they can do to support more. Yeah, look. Oh man, where is it?
I still like the idea of making the war vote a nationwide referendum where everyone who votes yes has to serve.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. That works.
I'd also like to see though a biannual review for every 2 years. If there's a war declared, that the public gets to say yes or no to continue.
Yes, that would also be good. I like that. I think a lot of these ideas can be put together and used in conjunction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I agree.
When the people are in battle, they don't have the right to say no. But we have the ability or the responsibility to say, no, we're not going to send them. We should not send people into battle lightly. We should almost be guaranteed to be attacked or whatever before we send somebody.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. This is a Life magazine from 1943. But I was looking for this particular ad, and it was like, buy these like sheets, like bed sheets, like that. This supports the war, kind of. And it was just, I don't know. It's just so bizarre to see these kinds of ads. Oh wait, yep, there it is. Okay, so this is 1943. Pacific Sheets. It's got this woman, lying in bed, and she says, "Please God, bring him back to me safely." And this big thing, and it's like, what's this say? They're made. Okay, you know that you're equipping him yourself by your war production work, your purchases of war bonds, your sacrifices on the home front. Everything you do can be done in a way to help the war effort. I don't know. Anyway, it's full of ads like this. It's just so strange. I don't know.
Weird.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, tons of stuff like that in here. This actually got some crazy pictures. Like, wow. I guess I should. James was telling me another time I pulled a few of these out, I need to, laminate them or something. But check this out. And this is like pictures of what they ate. Like soldiers' food, stuff like that. Quaker steak.
If those pictures were from World War I, it would be moldy bread and potato skins.
Yeah, essentially. If they were lucky to get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, there's a good bit of history in these things, though. I've got a whole stack of them.
My mother has a cedar chest full of old memorabilia and things in it, and getting ready to drill the lock and pull out what's in there.
Oh.
I know that it's got a bunch of stuff from JFK. I remember one thing that's in there is her ration cards, her ration book.
So it's locked up? You haven't been able to get in? Like the key?
Yeah, I can't find the key, so I'm just going to open the lock.
Oh, okay.
Huh. That should be interesting.
Yeah. I think it's really cool just to, it's history. It's amazing. Anyway, sorry, I get lost in
I
this.
remember like 20 or 30 years ago, I looked through the JFK one, and I remember even back there the pictures didn't match. They were showing all the Life magazine was showing the car at different points, and you look at it and it's different cars.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So they just put together every photo they had of any kind of parade and said it was all the November one.
Right.
So we were planning to kind of go into more about the reality winner case, but honestly, I have read everything I wanted to read on it. I wondered if anybody else here has paid any attention to it, has any thoughts on it.
No, I can't even think what the case is.
That's the one where it's the NSA contractor. She's in Georgia. The story was that we heard in the news was that she leaked that she was against Trump. She was a Hillary supporter, and that she leaked some information to The Intercept, and they somehow exposed her or whatever. And so the story is that she showed the Russian hacks, basically, but she's being held without bail, and the defense sought subpoenas for information from the CIA, Defense Department, National Archives Records Administration, National Security Council, and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, Homeland Security, and the White House. They wanted records from the states, which DHS claimed had their voting registrations systems allegedly hacked by Russians. But they denied all of it. Denied those. So they denied all of it, and I think she is there until like October without. They're denying her bail, and I don't understand this. Shutting her down.
She's being indefinitely detained without trial.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct.
Right. Yeah, there's a good.
Here's the weird thing. This is what has me really puzzled about this. Just the narrative itself just seems fishy as all. Because here, who's an NSA contractor, who, if you look into her history, excuse me, she supported other leakers. She supported Edward Snowden. She supported Julian Assange. So she was in favor of these people, but at the same time, she was also a Hillary supporter and hated Trump. I don't know. That just seems almost like there's a disconnect there, because we all know that it was Assange who leaked all of the emails from the DNC that basically exposed the fact that they were cheating Bernie. So it just, I don't know. Their narrative just seems really off here.
Is reality winner real?
What's that?
Is reality winner real?
Yes, she is. At first, it just sounds.
At first I was kind of skeptical of that, but here's the real problem here, and that is that is being held basically indefinitely, and if she had the dirt on collusion between Trump and Russia, or had evidence supporting the fact that Russia had hacked our election system, well, wouldn't you think that Hillary or Hillary supporters would be down there in Georgia doing whatever they could to get her out so that she could tell her story? That makes sense to me, and yet nobody's covering this. Mainstream media is completely shying away from it. They haven't mentioned anything in months. So the whole thing just seems incredibly bizarre.
And I think that I've noticed, now obviously I can't watch all independent media. Maybe somebody's out there talking about it. I don't know, but I haven't seen it. Because the narrative was kind of what we were told when the story came out, was that she provided the evidence that the Russians really hacked.
Right.
And so I almost feel like it is one side ignoring it because that doesn't fit what, some that believe the whole Russia story is a hoax. I don't know. It's just weird that nobody's covering it. So the most recent, let's see, Kevin Gostola, who's great on Shadowproof, he has been...
I have a question. The story is that she gave proof that the Russians interfered to the intercept, and then the intercept leaked.
No. Yeah, she gave this, what she found, to the intercept. And somehow...
It was classified information.
And then one of Greenwald's employees, I believe it was one of Greenwald's employees. It's difficult for me to believe it was Greenwald himself.
Mm-mm.
But regardless, the Intercept apparently leaked the fact that she was the one they received the documents from.
Right.
And
well,
here
it was something accidentally.
As far as her credibility is, I could think of, in her defense, I could think of one reason why the mainstream media has been ignoring her leak since her detainment. And the plain answer is simple. They want to keep the money wheel going. Because right now, Trump, being anti-Trump is a fucking gold mine kind of money that they're trying to ride out as long as they can. Mm-hmm. And the longer they can do that, the more it distracts from other issues from which if it got attention, their donors would not be very happy about. So they have a financial incentive to make sure reality winter situation doesn't actually play out, even if it goes along with their narrative. Because the longer they can ride this out, the more money they can rake from this.
Mm-hmm. Well, so I guess the next hearing...
Not necessarily that the Trump collusion didn't happen. This is a case of more... where are the incentive structures lying?
Well, it makes me wonder if she had other documents that weren't released, that she either gave to the Intercept or didn't give to the Intercept that haven't been released, and if that's the reason she's being indefinitely detained is because she had other things that she also took that could have been potentially more dangerous to the establishment, or
That's kind of what I'm leaning toward, to be honest. That's kind of my thing, is that there's more to this than what we've been told at this point, and that's what they're afraid might come out. That's my thinking. I don't have anything to base that on, but it kind of fits the situation at this point.
I mean, for them to deny 40 subpoenas to all those agencies.
Yeah.
What? So she's in detention at the Lincolnton County Jail in Georgia, where she awaits trial, which I believe is October, which is interestingly right before an election primary. But so Kevin Gostola is the writer who's really covering her story, and he was on Democracy Now! Gosh, it's probably been a month ago now, maybe more, along with Reality Winner's mother, talking
back
about...
in March, I think that interview was done.
Yeah, okay. So let's see. Let me just try to get the basics here. Subscribing to the prosecution's arguments against granting the subpoenas. Okay, none of the requests specify particular books, papers, documents, data. They were saying basically they rejected all of them on saying that it was too broad a request.
So the information that she gave to the Intercept, what did they say it was? That it was proof that the Russia collusion with Trump?
I mean, that was the mainstream media narrative.
But to me, that doesn't make any, if that's why they're going to prosecute her, that doesn't make any sense, because that would just mean that she put out supporting evidence for what they've been saying all along.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Which to me doesn't make sense, because the real evidence hasn't been presented or talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It hasn't up to this point.
Like if she gave it to the Intercept, then why didn't the Intercept publish it?
Okay. Hold on.
Well, that is probably that's the $1 million question, isn't it? there are two possibilities. One is that the Intercept is waiting for a moment of political vulnerability in which to release these, which is really journalistic malpractice, but it's not unheard of to occur in the business before. The alternative, which I'm not sure it's the more likely, but it's still remains a possibility, is that reality sent this initial set of information just as a sort of a teaser. And there was a much larger file buildup that was building on her computer that she was planning to send later, but ended up getting busted before she could send those out to the press.
Mm-hmm.
So
I have to remember also to use DuckDuckGo. I keep forgetting that.
Which at this point, if she hasn't sent it to anybody, chances are the Trump's people have already gotten those files resecured and probably bleached them.
Mm-hmm.
If the latter is the case, then that's probably what has happened by this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because even somebody as incompetent as Donald Trump understands the putting two and two together, that if person A has files on person B that person B does not want having out in the public, then it's incumbent upon person B to make sure that those get bleached ASAP.
Yeah, I can't find the original. There's an Intercept article. Maybe this is it. The one I thought I had, it's the link didn't work.
Maybe they deleted it.
Well, I mean, that's possible, but anyway, I'm trying to find it. I remember something that had it, like, you know, a lot of it was redacted, but they showed part of what I can't remember. Anyway, I will find it. But if it's available still.
All right. And I mean, in other news,
yeah, go ahead.
Bill Maher proves himself to be a credit to the resistance by blaming Palestinians for being massacred in Gaza.
What?
For the.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
See,
Bill Maher had Barry Weiss on, and Barry Weiss was saying, you can't feel sorry for the Palestinians because Hamas was using children as human shields, and they were basically asking for it. And they were being terrorists, you know, against Israel, and Israel just had to defend itself, blah, 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 blah. And that you can't feel sorry for them because this is all political. And it's like, okay, how many Israelis have died in the last 14 weeks? 0. How many Palestinians? Oh, over 100. Wow, that's quite something.
I'm so embarrassed that I ever watched him.
And he just sat there like time, and then he was like saying that one
for 3 years now.
He kept saying that one side has been continuously hostile, and he was talking about Palestine, but IPM tweets on Twitter did a great cut up where they have him saying that on repeat, and they're showing all the times when Israel was just awful to the Palestinians, like every time the Palestinians wanted peace, and like, you know, because he just says like continuously hostile, you know, like he's like, how can they be peaceful when one side is just continuously hostile all the time? And it's like, yes, and all the Palestinians have been asking.
It's like that one meme of the black guy who shoots the person in his couch and then asks why a complete stranger would do something like that.
Right.
Well, we know, I mean, Bill Maher has, he said a lot of controversial things. I mean, not so much, I don't know, more recent.
Controversial. No, this isn't controversial. This is straight up genocide.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, like his Islamophobia and stuff.
This isn't some gray line that he crossed. This is clear cut, plain as crystal. He is actively advocating for and promoting ethnic cleansing. And he's doing this to an audience that is very susceptible to that kind of propaganda. Yeah. He is justifying ethnic cleansing. Let me phrase this as clearly as possible. He is justifying ethnic cleansing, racism, and genocide towards a very impressionable liberal audience who take his word as gold.
Yes,
and
well, his his Islamophobia stuff has been going on for some time. I mean, that, he's taken some heat for that. But I agree. I'm just embarrassed I ever listened to anything he said or thought. I used to enjoy the panels.
For 3 years now. I'm ashamed.
Well,
my parents still watch it.
Oh.
And I don't know why.
I used to enjoy the panels. It wasn't really listening to him. It was the guests he would have on. And I noticed over time, like, Salman Rushdie stopped coming on. Like, the guests, just, I think maybe they saw it and didn't want to come on. But it just sort of became, I don't know, an echo chamber. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's a cacophony of arrogance, of arrogant stupidity dressed up as intellectualism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yes, absolutely. Yep, you're right. Absolutely. And
it is the reason why I fucking despise Bill Maher probably even more than I despise people like David Salrini. Because David Salrini may be arrogant, racist, deeply racist, misogynistic prick, but he's laughably incompetent and earnestly advocates for it, which for as disgusting of a human being as he is, I can give him some. I honestly can have more respect for him.
Gotcha.
To me,
Bill Maher is offensive to me on every level, not just because he seems to share a lot of those same views, but that he couches it as some kind of enlightened leftist view of the world. That is just the true leftism. And the fact that he thinks that he can do this with the same level of intellectual credibility and integrity that somebody like Cornel West possesses, somebody who's spent decades of his life studying ethical philosophy and social history, as somehow his intellectual equal. Fuck you, Bill Maher. You are
Thank
not
you.
and never will be the intellectual equivalent of no one but George Bush.
You go.
I think
Thank you.
The closest intellectual equal to Bill Maher would probably Ben Shapiro. I think Ben Shapiro and Bill Maher.
I'm going to make a clip out of that. Sorry, Lucas.
I think that if you were to take like a dash of humor and put it onto Ben Shapiro and then slow his voice down a bit and make it not sound like a tiny little kid's voice, then you're Bill Maher.
So I'm going to make a clip of that, Aeolus, and tweet it at Bill Maher. I mean, like he's not going to listen to it, but that's okay. I don't care. I'll do it.
No, please do it. And strokes I'll allow myself to be an arrogant asshole for just a little bit and say, please do so. Because it will stroke my ego immensely.
Well, you're right about, the fact that it's so dangerous because he's got this audience that follows him. I mean...
Yeah, like my dad. My dad's a very loyal follower of Bill Maher. He watches the show every week. He pays for HBO just so he can watch Bill Maher.
I used to be that.
And even...
I hate
to talk to my dad about politics because all he does is just regurgitate what he hears. Bill Maher.
Here's interesting thing. I'd say 8 or 9 years, neoliberals have transformed into neocons. I mean, that's the truth of it.
Mm-hmm.
They have become the very thing they despised.
Well, I'd say that they always were that thing. They just were in denial, much more significant denial about it.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're absolutely right.
The thing is, neoconservatism plays hand in hand with neoliberalism, and the reason why is ultimately the ultimate goal of neocons is to develop political and economic hegemony. Neoliberalism attempts to do this by, I wouldn't say it's as nationalistic. It's not inherently as nationalistic as neoconservatism is, but but in a sense, it still is geared towards promoting a sort of economic hegemony. However, whereas most neoliberals tend to lean this as a more global market, as opening it up as sort of a single giant economic sphere, neoconservatism aims to make that sphere one that is owned by a singular state, and that in a sense is why neoliberalism and neoconservatism can work so well together, even if one doesn't necessarily precipitate the other.
Gotcha.
It's because they're both different kinds of fascism, basically. They're both corporate run worlds. It's like the end goal is to have corporations run the planet. One is just that corporations run the United States, and the other one is that the United States runs the corporations. But the corporations still run the planet overall, either way.
Okay, sorry to keep pulling it back to this, but I actually found the article that I had in my head about this, and it's from The Intercept. You know what, I'm just gonna tweet it out right now, but it's basically, I think this is the one. This is June 5th 2017. This does not say that this was the one that she sent to The Intercept. But anyway, I'm tweeting it right now. It says it's about this supposedly spear phishing emails that were sent. Well, anyway, I guess we'll follow up with it another time. But it has this like chart at the bottom. Spear phishing campaign used against U.S. and foreign government political entities. I thought I remembered that this is what she supposedly, or part of what they put out that she leaked. But anyway, oh well, okay. I don't know. If you see Twitter, I just tweeted it. If you care to read it, and I really want to continue to cover this story because, I don't know, I was really kind of, when I watched Democracy Now! And heard her mom and just, I just want the truth, like with whistleblowers, whether it's Assange or Reality Winner. And, I'm of the opinion, I'm in the same camp. But I believe Glenn Greenwald. I agree with his assessment. And I really feel like there's not enough evidence for Russia to even believe Russiagate at all. I think it's a made-up narrative. But if there really is evidence for it, then okay, I'm not saying it's not possible. So I say any whistleblower on whatever side you're on, nobody should be shut down like this. Like,
absolutely.
And imprisoned. I mean, it's terrible.
What's the status of Ron Spiegelman?
I don't know.
I mean, what was that, 12 years ago? Went to bed thinking he won the governorship, woke up arrested.
Oh, I don't think I know this story.
Thrown into, solitary confinement for over a decade.
What?
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
Shit, I don't know this story. I know, what is it, Sterling. I mean, there are a lot of those stories. I didn't know this one. Ron Spiegelman?
I think I got the name right. Brian, do you know that one?
I've heard a little about it. I don't think the name is quite right. I'm trying to look it up now.
Why isn't he on the news every day?
That's a good question.
And then he was arrested during the Bush administration.
Yeah. Right.
Why didn't Obama pardon him?
Probably we all know how much Obama should be trusted.
He was accused of giving somebody a job that was a volunteer job, not a paid job. And that's why he was put in solitary confinement. And that's why he lost the governorship.
Wow.
But he went to bed winning the governorship and woke up arrested.
What state was this?
Georgia or Alabama, one of those down there.
What was he, like a Democrat or a Republican or?
I believe he was the Democrat.
Do Do you know?
Wow, sucks to be him.
Because you said this was during the Bush years, so like, was he like a Howard Dean during the Bush years type Democrat, where he was like Bernie and progressive, or was he like a corporate Democrat?
Let me get my hands back here.
Trying to find information on this.
I just wanted to say something else about Glenn Greenwald and like the people that I trust on these really controversial things. You know, Glenn Greenwald like was given like all this material. I don't know how much, but all this stuff from Snowden. I mean, I'm gonna trust the guy that's like seen all the secrets. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. I don't agree with everything and feel like The Intercept is not always, I don't know, the best. But I don't know, if someone were to ask me that, why do I trust Glenn Greenwald? I just think, you know, he knows a lot.
Don Siegelman. Okay, I found it. Don Siegelman. Okay, I do remember hearing about this.
It's been so long I couldn't even remember how's it spelled.
D-O-N, of course, is the first name. It's Siegelman.
Well, what's happened to him? Is he still somewhere locked up?
According to this, he's still locked up. No, he was set for release. Okay, it says here he was 69 and set for release in August of 2017. Set for release, but it doesn't say he was actually released. Siegelman's asking the U.S. Supreme Court to review the case. As isolation, solitary confinement presents problematic obstacles to the appeal. What the hell?
I guess a lot of this stuff has happened and we haven't known. I mean, obviously, you know, because...
Yeah. Well, this is go back to the voting counter. Go down about the 2002 election. It was within 3,000 votes of winning. And he was declared the winner by the Associated Press. Later, they found a voting machine malfunction, actually gave him an extra, or actually had him closer than he was, or he wasn't.
Sure.
The Associated Press was wrong and he lost by 3,000 votes.
Sure.
Which is about the number of votes, I believe, that Ryan passed his recall, when he got recalled. So whatever happens in a Republican controlled election lately always seems to be, there's been a malfunction. Here's the extra votes, the Republican wins. But he was indicted for bribery and racketeering. He wanted to raise the state's minimum wage by $1.
Oh no. Jeez.
So it does look like Siegelman was released back in August of 2017. Finally.
I don't know. I mean, it's torture. I mean, you know, what they're doing to Assange right now is torture. To just throw these people under the jail, so to speak. I don't understand how. I mean, we have to bring attention to this. I mean, the mainstream media is not going to do it.
No. No, they don't have the will.
Wait, was that at Trump time?
A what? What did you just say?
We just gotta build a wall.
What?
Build the wall to make the media great again.
Oh. Okay.
Right.
Sure. Let's see. So I thought this was interesting too, though. So sorry, I'm going to keep coming back to this. I'm not going to let this story go. As a matter of fact, I'm going to see if I can actually get more involved directly with reporting on it. Anyway, it said that Winter's Defense also wanted to subpoena information from cybersecurity companies like CrowdStrike. FireEye, F-Secure Corporation, and Trend Micro. So, if we had real journalists, they'd be all over this stuff, right? Trying to dig up and find out what's going on. Okay, under the Espionage Act, the government is supposed to prove not only that the information was properly classified, but that it related to the national defense of the United States in order to win a conviction.
Sorry to change the subject, but I just want to...
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm just going to keep going.
Have you ever heard of the new, semi-new Huawei phones that the government said not to buy?
I think I have, yeah, because of the encryption.
Well, that's because the reason they say not to get them is because they say that since they're made by a Chinese corporation, the Chinese government will use it to spy on you. But the thing is that would you rather have the Chinese government spying on you or the U.S. corporations and the U.S. government spying on you? Because you're doing order.
It's your poison.
Yeah, there's the question.
The reason they don't want you to have the Huawei phones is because it's a bit more difficult for them to crack into those than it is phones.
Hey, Michael, are you asleep?
To go through all your shit.
I saw a thing about Pippa's dress twice, but not that.
And it's also like it's much cheaper to get the Huawei phones, and for the same features. And the only thing that sucks is that it's an Android operating system.
That you were gonna say?
What's wrong with Android?
I personally don't like it. I grew up using all the Apple devices, and Android to me just sucks.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I have a story, something from Reddit. Just a second. It has to do with that.
It's a Mashable.
What? Mashable? Okay. Okay, hang on. I'll have it in just a sec. It had to do with Androids, right?
Yep.
Okay. And Facebook. And stuff that you apparently can't remove from your phone. Well, there. Okay, yeah. Several things are like that, but okay.
Well, yeah, Facebook is just the worst thing ever. After you download it on your phone, you just completely wrecked your life. In all honesty, there's anyone who doesn't have a Facebook is so incredibly lucky that they don't have one already, because their information is still fairly safe. I mean, the thing is that Facebook right now is going out of their way to try to collect info on people who don't use their website. That way they can sell that too.
I didn't have Facebook until December, 5 months ago, and I really
I've had it for 8 years, and at this point, I've just sort of resigned to. Well, they pretty much taken all the information from me they could possibly get.
Right.
So, fuck it. So that's the point that I'm at the point that I've been in it long enough that I'm like, fuck it. If it goes down, it goes down. But in the meantime, I'm keeping my friends. I'm gonna be keeping eyes on my friends.
Right.
Okay.
There are a lot of people.
Well, I would recommend, if you're somebody new, I probably wouldn't recommend you get into Facebook. But if you're already there, then it's
yeah, do you want to talk about it?
How fucking worse can it get at this point? How much fucking worse can it get?
You don't have to
I guess that depends on what you're using it for. So, if you're using it for browsing, if you get a lot of Facebook's constantly doing psychological experiments on their users.
I've used it to just
food and anxiety and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah. when you post something, like they'll like deliberately not show it to anybody. Like if you're posting about being depressed and alone, they'll like purposefully not show it to anybody. That way, no one responds and no one
You
can
can take
comment.
this
Oh,
one.
comments.
Yeah.
Hey, Michael saw something on Mashable. He's gonna just tell you about it because I don't know what I'm talking about.
What you got?
So on Mashable, did you share the link so they can see it?
No.
Can you do that? Can you send the?
Well, you have to do it on there, and then it pops up. I mean, you can do it there,
Okay.
but it shows
Okay.
up on the live stream.
So, you just had to get this up. So anyone who has an Android device, from any major manufacturer, has seen that apps like Facebook and a lot of the apps come on there already installed, and you can't remove them. So they're locked in unless you root the device. A lot of times, on my Note 4, my previous phone, I couldn't uninstall the app. I had to hide it, but I could not actually go in and delete it unless I then rooted the phone. So let me pull this up today on Mashable. One second.
Are you going to use that one? I can look at this.
Yeah. So I'll pull this up. And give me a second, I'll share this out.
Android users receive, what does that say?
Yeah, so
App requests.
yeah, here you go. So this is the article. So they actually receive a request to give Facebook super user access to allow them full access to the device. So basically this is the request that popped up on the phone. So there's speculation in the article that this is due to a bug in some of the API changes, Brian, that you and I have talked about a little bit over the past couple of weeks. And so as they've made changes, and then all of a sudden, Facebook apparently wants access to everything. It hasn't appeared on all devices. At this point, they haven't pinned it down to one specific version or a specific device. But if you notice, I mean, you've got two very obvious, different size devices across some of these different tweets that the article is covering. I'll get Kelly to send it out so you guys can get a copy of it. But this is really, really just not going to be good on top of the previous, the Cambridge Analytica stuff, all of the, everything else going on with Facebook. So it is a really scary that, it's going to try to get root access to your phone. Okay, there you.
What was the other thing about having Facebook open? Oh, somebody left. Nighty night.
Good night.
Oh, hi Lucas. The thing about if you have, is it Google Chrome? If you have that open and.
No, it's any website. It can
Do the
stop share. But Facebook itself will, if there's a like button open in another browser tab, Facebook, the application can actually see what's going on in that other browser tab if there's a like button there. So Firefox has actually released a new system of containers across each tab, and then they've specially designed one that works with just with Firefox. So there's a plugin you can download now that's by the Mozilla Foundation that will allow you to keep Firefox in its own container, keep the Facebook tab in its own container, so it can't see out into other tabs you might have open in Firefox.
Gotcha.
But I mean, it just seems like either they don't care and they've just gotten completely and totally out of control with trying to gather more and more information. But that's one of the like spookiest things I've seen with it. Trying to gain root access to your phone. But anyway, I wanted to pitch that one up to you guys. I thought you'd find it interesting.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Yeah, I can't explain that stuff. So.
No, and then and on top of that, with on some devices not being able to remove Facebook or it coming pre-installed. If it's pre-installed, does it ask for this, a super user request when you run it the first time, or does that come pre-granted by the OEM?
Right.
I mean, so that's even more concerning. So, I mean, they may be bundling it where it already has super user access to your device, but nobody. This has just come out, so unless people have, buy a phone right now with this version of Firefox and happen to be one hit by it.
What is that one again? Something that starts with an L. I keep messing up and calling it Librem, but it's the phone that's supposed to come out in
it's
January.
There's one coming out soon that's probably going to be one of the more secure phones that have been out yet. It's by a company, Purism. Their website is puri.sm. And it is a device that's actually running Linux as the main OS, not Android.
Nice.
With that, you will have a kill switch for the network connection and a kill switch for the telephone connection as well, which most devices don't have the ability to shut down the radio unless you dig way down into settings.
Nice.
They're focusing mainly on the capability of using the Matrix application and Matrix framework to make phone calls, but you'd also be able to install things like Signal and other Telegram and things like that to actually make calls over.
Gotcha.
But it's supposed to be able to make regular telephone calls as well. It started as a Kickstarter project that took off, and they've got got like an extra, just massive amount of funding from a single source to pull it off. But they also make laptops that come with things like microphone and video camera kill switches, as well as network kill switches. And they've got their own Debian variant that's all free and open source software with an extra security focus.
Cool.
Yeah, so check out Librem 5.
Well, you just wonder, even with Signal, when you install Signal on your phone, I mean, and it's not to sound like totally paranoid, but I mean, for some like serious journalists out in the field, if they wanted.
There's a Signal bug recently on the desktop app that could leak info. Right.
Okay. So I saw something about that, but also just because you put Signal on there, so your messages are encrypted, when you send them. But if anything, if someone has gotten like access to your phone, then can't they just access all that anyway? I mean, the message traveling is whatever, where they can't get to it. But anyway. So.
Well, I'm going to head off to bed. I'm getting kind of tired. I'm still not feeling 100% yet. So. Okay.
Well, unfortunately, I think our group was smaller because of the trolls we had pop back in. Snort. Do you know if they have been at other places recently? Since the ones at James's channel.
Those are the only ones I encountered.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same people. I mean, it wasn't.
I'm pretty sure it is too.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't Mario, but it was.
Yes, it was.
Oh, there was one Mario?
Oh, yeah. The one on the bottom where it was just a bunch of words, if you paused it, it said Mario.
Oh, I was too busy trying to put
Yeah.
them on hold and get them out. And I don't really know why that wasn't working well. But anyway, it's too bad we have to do that. But all we have to do is just let everybody
we'll
know.
Share it over IM on Twitter.
Yeah, that's really all we can do. So is Ebon still on fighting bats and is?
I have.
So I mean, I can keep the stream open if everybody, even though Brian's heading off. But what do you think?
It's up to you. How's your head?
I'm fine. I'm good. We can. I don't know. Anything new you want to talk about, Snork? With that you're doing with the water stuff or anything like that?
I've kind of been set back. We wanted to get as much reference material as we can. Sorry, butterscotch.
Oh.
As much reference material as we could, so that we'd have verifiable facts and all. And we had a chemist helping us, and she has multiple organ stage 4 cancer.
Oh.
And we've had some projects of hers that she wants me to finish for her. I am no chemist, but she wants me to do the drawings and things for her so she can apply for a patent,
right,
so that her kids can have the patent after she dies.
Mm.
Oh, jeez. Sorry to hear that, Snork.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah. Go hack up a lung. Drink. Emergency.
You soon.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Right.
So let's just see. I mean, I could try again to share out, but I think if I do that, what's interesting is who is following me and Brian and James to be the trolls. So, I mean, this is an obvious, concerted effort. There are 4 of them, it looks like. Or 4. I guess you could be doing that from... You could probably just be doing that from the same computer in some way.
Yeah, or they might have a laptop.
Yeah. So I said this before, but I think I'm actually going to see if I can find out anything from Zoom, because when you log in or when you do that, they have some kind of identifying information on you.
Should be.
Yeah. So I'll look into that. I'll see what I can find out.
Yeah, because we have some trollish people on James' show, and I'm wondering if it might be one of them.
Okay, like ones that actually come on and talk, but that they're maybe doing that too, or
That
no?
We have a lot of negative comments in the.
Oh yeah. Well, that's always problematic. That's why I'm not really a fan of the type chat. I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like if you're willing to come on, even if it's not your face, but you come on and show and speak, that's different. It's really easy to sit there behind a computer screen and type stuff to, cause problems or whatever. So I don't know. That's why I kind of opt. Actually, I pay no attention to the YouTube channel as we're streaming. Brian will kind of keep an eye on it and see if anything's going on, but I really don't.
Really slow tonight.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I don't want trolls. That's fine. So actually, next Friday, we had a really great election integrity panel. I don't know if anybody caught that, but on Tuesday.
When was that?
Tuesday night, we had, this was awesome. We had Tim Canova, Lulu Freistat, John Brakey. I'm naming off some election integrity people that everybody might not know, but Ray Lutz, and anyway, a bunch of guys that have done, John Brakey especially, he's done so much great work the last decade in election transparency, as he said. But anyway, we did that panel on Tuesday night. That was really, really awesome. And we're coming up with a plan to kind of add something to CFAR officially. They've got, well, I don't want to go into it too much, but we're going to work with him on that. And then let's see, Wednesday we did a town hall for Bill Cimbrello, which weren't very many people, but we ran into the same problem with the trolls. We tried to do a town hall for him the week before, and they came onto his town hall and did that.
I'm not seeing notices for these.
Really?
No.
Well, we put it on. Part of it's on the CFAR Facebook page, which, you know, but we put it out on Twitter. Like with Twitter, unless you like promote it every hour, you might not see it, you know? So I guess that's what I need to
Well,
do.
yeah, but messages, I have a breakout for that they don't go into the normal thing for me. I see them in separate columns.
Right. Well,
I
guess
use TweetDeck. I don't use Twitter.
Oh, okay.
So I could say anything from Kelly Lane go in this column.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that was Tuesday at, I think it was 9:30. That was really good. And then we had to do Bill's town hall, privately, which it really kind of sucks to have to do that, because I feel like somebody might catch it as it's live and go, hey, I want to jump on and ask a question. But we just can't do that because we had to end the whole thing. They totally ruined it. So, and then, let's see. So we actually don't have anything lined up next week just yet. Just a lot going on. So, with another candidate to do some kind of panel, but we are going to have some guys from, it's a podcast called Progressive Rampage. They're going to come on and talk, and I thought we should talk about the problems in the progressive movement. Just the stuff we run into. But, in a positive way. Like, what do we do to get past it? That kind of thing. Aeolus, are you still here? Oh, he's on mute. He might have fallen asleep. I think he actually fell asleep last time. Can you hear me? All right. Well, I guess let's see. I think Ebon's on. You want to... It's just us. I mean, I love talking to you, Snork. But I think we're kind of slow tonight here, so.
Yeah, like I said, I'm kind of tired too, so let's pop over to Ebon's.
Yeah, it looks like James is in some kind of a mask doing... I only recognized it was him because of the picture of the naked lady on the wall behind. He's got... What is he wearing? I have no idea. Okay. All right. Well, good night. Good to see you.
All right. See you. Thanks.
Bye.